Förflabonga, mantrotakubu. With Dale and Tony breaking all the rules. Talking tech, biz, and straight up chaos. Quick fire guests, oh yeah, we slay those.
Good morning. Sorry, good afternoon. My name is Dale Rodriguez, and this is Flabonga Montrotha Cube. And with me today, we've got a guest,
Ronnie Swafford.
Hey, Ronnie. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining me.
Hey, thanks for having me.
First things first, actually, good morning was correct because you are in Colorado in America, which is a good 6 hours behind me, I think. So
Yes, right now it's 5 a.m.
It's 5 a.m. Thank you for being up so early.
It's okay. I like the morning DJ thing.
Yeah, you like the morning DJ thing? The
Yeah.
kind of drive time radio early in the morning?
You got it. I think we could do that.
So I think if we had a show together, it would be more evening drive time radio.
I think it would be evening, like later evening, probably
Yeah.
after a couple of whiskeys evening type thing.
The 7 till 9 kind of slot, right?
I think that would be perfect.
Where we would chat absolute nonsense, but in very calming and soothing tones.
Exactly like that. You have to use your radio voice. Coming to you live every evening.
Velvet Thunder.
You got it. You got it. See, you got the vibe already. We could use this as maybe a promo video. See if we can get a radio station interested.
Would it be your local radio station? Who would it be? Who'd be?
No, I think we need Sirius XM. We need to go global on this right out the gate. We don't need practice. I think that would ruin it.
All right. Before we get carried away in our foolishness, because you and I could do that back and forth. You've already stated your name. Thank you for that. What do you do for a living?
My official title is Solutions Architect. I consider myself more an agent of chaos, but, Solutions Architect has worked for me.
Okay. For the uninitiated, what is a solutions architect?
That is a big question with a lot of different answers, but I'm going to give you mine. I think solutions architecture has been expanded in the last few years, but a solutions architect is your senior person who has knowledge over a vast many things. So in technology, let's say that your solutions architect should know infrastructure, software, networking, and be able to interact with your clients, the executives of any client you have, right down to the people who write the code, and maybe the people who are project management, et cetera. So as a person who can cover all those roles fluidly, that's a solutions architect.
So I'm going to summarize what you said and do it in a Dale Rodriguez interpretation. A solutions architect is a geek of the highest order and magnitude.
I like the way you said that.
Right? Like, what you explained to me is someone who's got the ability to do the technical stuff, who might not do it so much anymore, but has the respect of the technical team, can speak to people. And you mentioned infrastructure, which, again, some software people don't really deal with. But, again, you have to have IT infrastructure to make software work. So I guess...
That's exactly right. If you know the whole landscape of what you're trying to build, then you can keep yourself from making mistakes. That's where the problems come in that solutions architects can solve for you.
Fantastic. We're going to say hello to Tony. Hey, Tony, how's it going?
Hey, I'm very sorry that I'm late.
We're not going to keep being late. We're not going to keep being late because you know what? I'm late often. So
it's true. This is true.
Yeah, and it was fashionably late. It's not like you came in 30 minutes late. I mean, you were
just a little bit.
Perfectly late. I'm going to give you that one, Tony.
That's it. I'm going to get my studio set up. There we go. This is a more familiar angle for me, right?
Yes, everyone loves the chocolate in the background.
I do like that. I'm a little jealous, if I'm honest.
Squashy chocolate every time I need a little sugar hit.
There you go.
Okay, right. What other kind of... Oh, okay, question for you. Ronnie, when it comes to solutions architecture, you mentioned development, and I assume that involves coding. Do you have a coding language of choice? And if so, why?
Not really of choice, but the one I've spent so much time in over the last decade and a half is probably C#. A lot of, especially in the US, a lot of companies use Microsoft Stack. Mm-hmm. So C# has been a go-to. JavaScript, of course, because everything on the web uses JavaScript, always has. So you got to be really good at JavaScript. And then any JavaScript library, any flavor of the week of these JavaScript libraries that seem to come out 2 at a time, every day, you can use if you know JavaScript. So yeah, it's C# has been the go-to and is starting to fade a little bit as far as mainstream. But yeah, that's where I cut my teeth.
Okay, for the lay peoples. Okay.
Yes.
Could you explain the difference in the languages? People have preferences and they have different use cases, but are you able to maybe dumb it down a little bit?
Yeah, let's think about it. Some languages would be better for writing games. So you wanted to write traditional games, you could do that. Just a few years ago, you'd be in C++. You'd be in a back-end language, something that you wouldn't see on the front end of a web page. Now you can do that with C# using Unity. It's becoming more ubiquitous. However, I think you still benefit a lot if you're dealing with data and databases. A language like C#, some people might like Java because C# was built to more or less emulate Java. But those languages are built to deal with data and give information to the front end, whatever your front end is. Whether you're using HTML and JavaScript, or you're using one of the libraries, or you're using React, or whatever you want to use.
Okay. Cheeky question. Mean stack or lamp stack?
I'm going with mean.
Oh, okay.
Just because I like mean.
Okay.
I like to. I kind of look a little mean sometimes, especially early in the morning. So let's go with the mean stack.
You don't look mean at all, good sir. You're one of the friendliest people I know on LinkedIn.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I do.
Even though your title is Professional Arch Nemesis.
What do you know what a professional arch nemesis does?
No, tell us.
Yes. See, think about the Joker and Batman. Let's do that DC, the basic arch nemesis dynamic. Mm-hmm. The arch nemesis brings out the best in the hero. So without an arch nemesis, who would Batman be? He'd be a thug beating up on crooks just because he had daddy issues, right? But when you bring in the world-changing, the person who's going to destroy the whole city, that's when Batman has to become that next level Batman and save the world.
Clip. You know, that's definitely a clip right there.
Right? You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yes.
That was flawless.
That's what an arch nemesis is. That's the purpose of an arch nemesis. That's why they're necessary.
Got it. That's how you justify your evil. I'm making other people better.
Exactly. Yes, that's what we tell everybody. In the Arch Nemesis Club, that's what we tell people.
Tony, question for you, man.
Yeah.
Have you ever had an arch nemesis? Ever someone that's really just gotten on your nerves?
Yeah.
Don't say their name, obviously. Don't say their name.
I don't actually know the guy's name. Who's this guy that I played rugby against? He just immediately popped into my head. Yeah. And and he was like, he was quite good at rugby, but not like he thought he was better than he was, right? And he played for a team that we played against like regularly 2 or 3 times a season, and we had a little spat, shall we say? And it was the one and only time I ever really lost my rag on a rugby field. And he'd kind of tackled me. I tackled him, and then as he was wriggling out the tackle, he kicked me in the face. And I not like, it wasn't like no broken teeth or anything. Like it was, just but the intention was very much there, and I felt it. And we had a little scuffle, shall we say?
Some fisticuffs.
Yeah. And he was playing really well, and his team were winning. And then we had some little fisticuffs, and then he just shrank into himself and disappeared. And we came back and won the game. And in my mind, I know the reason we did that was because I scared him. But he brought out my my hero, albeit slightly unorthodox, and he was fine. There was no one was injured or anything. We both got up and trotted back to the play after we'd had a little roll around on the floor. And he brought out the thing my team needed in me right at that exact moment. So I like that analogy, Ronnie. Yeah, and I had a good example right to hand.
I like that. What about you, Mr. Rodriguez?
I mean, you're my professional arch nemesis.
And that's why, to make you better.
Like, at first I thought it was going to be you being mean, but all you do is you do comments that make me look better. I was like, thanks.
Yeah, it's not about being mean. That's a misnomer. That's a weak person who would actually attack you and try to make you look worse so they would look better. You see, I try to criticize you when you need it so that you get better. And then we criticize each other, and then we laugh about it, and then we're both better for it. That's arch nemesis territory. But you have a secret weapon, you see, in Coconut Head, who can be upset when you have a daughter like you have your daughter. I'm not going to be in the future be this guy that she looks at. Why was he saying mean things about my dad?
True.
So you do have that weapon.
Do you have kids, Ronnie?
I have stepkids and granddaughters. I have 2 granddaughters that are grown. So
okay. We haven't asked this question for a while, but like Dale and I both are both fathers and girl fathers. I'm about to become a father again in the next month or so.
Congratulations!
Thank you very much, Ronnie. Appreciate that. Thank you. My question is like, what is the thing that like interacting with children has taught you?
Oh my God,
the most?
That is such a brilliant question. And
Thank you.
To be calm, to be at peace within yourself, because especially young kids.
So did you misunderstand the question? Children have taught you to be calm. Wow.
They have, because you cannot solve anything with anger when the kids are invoking with anger.
Nothing.
Oh man. Well, I'm a little older than you too. So the thing is, when you get angry, and my stepkids, I was younger and I probably get angry more. Grandkids will teach you something. They teach you that the calm, and the more calm you stay, the better life is going to be for everybody.
Well, it's different with grandkids though, because they're not your kids. Like, you can see them for like an hour or two, give them sugar and give them. It's not the same. You know this one. Come on. I bet you're a menace, aren't you? I bet you're an absolute menace. I bet you're an I bet you give these grandchildren absolute spoiled behavior. I bet you're one of those.
More candy.
Yeah. See, the thing is, my wife and I raised one of my granddaughters for 11 years, so it wasn't like that. It was like that parent-child dynamic. So yeah, I wasn't that guy, but I learned to stay calm, and I learned to save that raised voice and that anger or whatever you need to have for the special occasions when it was really needed, so that everybody would stop and say, what did I just do to invoke that reaction? So yeah, that was really also, I tell you what, Tony, since it's a great question, I'll try to give you a great answer. Seeing the world through the eyes of a child can change your perspective forever. If you can stop and listen and look and see what that child is actually experiencing, you can benefit from that. And it will also make you look at the world a little differently.
Very differently.
Yes.
Stepping, like, I try to, as much as possible, kind of like step into my daughter's world and try to come down to her level, like physically, and just get her to teach me stuff. And she's very happy to do. And she's 2.5. But yeah, like, you step into presence, right? And like,
yes,
you don't have a phone to distract them and a long list of to-dos at work and all that sort of stuff. I think that that is definitely one of the things that has taught me, is like my presence in the moment has increased dramatically since I've had a daughter. And I sometimes feel bad about it, like, kind of almost, it's like a hack to achieve that, is to just step into her world, and she does that for me without even realizing. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, brilliant. I love the fact that you can learn from your child. A lot of people, they're also so tied up in teaching that they forget, hey, this is something that we can work on together. Just going through the world, you see a butterfly and your child is fascinated with this little butterfly. And when you look at it, it is a fascinating creature. It's like, yeah, I see why you like that. I see why you're chasing that around. And it changes your perspective. Your idea too about just detaching from everything else except the moment you're in, priceless.
I genuinely believe that butterflies were called flutterbys a time ago, and someone said it incorrectly and it stuck, because flutterby makes more sense. That is literally what they do in English. They
Yes.
flutterby.
Yeah.
You're right. And I agree with you. We could say it in Spanish. I like mariposa. Mariposa is a great word.
I assume that's a Spanish word for butterfly.
Yeah. Yeah.
As
I
opposed to
learned
German,
that recently.
Schmetterling.
Schmetterling. I like that too. Yeah, we could work with that.
Yeah, Schmetterling. Ronnie, because you're American, I assume you drink coffee, right?
I do.
Good. Because we met one American that doesn't drink coffee, and she might get, like, what's the word? Not evicted. When they kick her out of the country. Excommunicated. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about that. People that don't drink coffee, I'm kind of a little sus.
Can't trust them, can you?
Can't.
I mean, on the flip side, if you guys had just paid tax on your tea, you wouldn't have all these problems.
You know, you actually, you said a mouthful. Yes. Looking back in history, pay the damn tax. What are we doing?
Sorry. I'm trying to set Tony up for his question. So you drink coffee. Fantastic.
Cool. Excellent. So we asked this question to most of our guests. In fact, probably all of them since I joined the show in February, which seems like yesterday. So if we can agree that, like, your sort of local artisan coffee shop that serves your, like fair trade beans and your coffee just as you like it and knows your name, that's A1, but that's out the game for now. So we're stuck in a world where we've only got access to the big coffee chains. Which big coffee chain would you be choosing, and which one would you avoid like the plague?
I would choose, here in the West, we have a company called Dutch Bros.
Okay.
And they make great espresso, but they usually make just cold drinks and iced coffee, things for kids, for the younger generation. But they make a great Americano. And the reason I choose them is not so much for the coffee, although it's good. It's for their attitude. Part of the culture of the company is to be friendly, gregarious, talk to people, and ask them how their day is going. So you build relationships with these people. They see you. They know what you normally order, and that's the third time you meet them. They know you, because that's encouraged with the company. So I would definitely do that. I would avoid Starbucks. I'm not above a Starbucks on the road. I mean, it's not that I'm going to say, oh, I'll never go in there, because I like coffee. But I avoid Starbucks, and I would go with Dutch Bros.
Cool. Excellent. Thank you very much. Always insightful. We love this question. It's a great question.
Well, let's stick with the insightful questions. Ronnie, I think I've asked you this before when we had our one-to-one, but I'll ask you again on the stream. And I'll translate because I'm nice. Ronnie, if you were a cookie, what kind of cookie would you be that actually portrays your personality and why, but don't just pick your favorite cookie?
Oh, now see that last part. Don't pick your favorite cookie. Okay, I think I would be a white chocolate macadamia nut cookie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How so? Why so?
Fancy.
Yeah, the reason I say that is because, you say a chocolate chip cookie, right? Then that's just like every other cookie in the box. Chocolate chip, everybody makes it. White chocolate already gets you there into the realm of cocoa butter and a little softer, me. And then the macadamia nut is that little bit of spice, a little bit of difference that comes in there. It makes me a little bit unique. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a little different. That's what I would be.
That's a good answer.
It's a market nut as well, the macadamia, isn't it? It's an elite.
It's a premium
nut. Premium nut, yeah, that's the word I was looking for, yeah. Premium
it is, yeah. Yeah, that may be a little pretentious that I picked that particular cookie.
No,
who amongst us doesn't like a good nut?
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's just a little nod. It's an inclusion. It's not like the whole thing, right? If you were to put it into brand terms, it might be a little motif. You're not like fully decked in the Louis V, right?
Hey, yeah. Now, see, I like the way you put that, Tony. I see why you hang out with this guy.
I like the fact that you use the word motif.
I do too.
a good word.
Yeah.
Good word.
Yeah.
Could have used the word logo, but I was inspired by the macadamia nut chat, right?
Indeed. Took it up a notch.
Ronnie, would you like a serious question or a silly question next?
Let's do a silly question next.
Okie dokie. You're a man of a certain age, so you know who I'm talking about. Popeye, Bugs Bunny, or SpongeBob? Kiss, marry, or avoid?
Okay, so I'm going to do SpongeBob Kiss because he's slightly, you can't really tell his proclivity there. So let's go with SpongeBob Kiss.
Okay.
Mary would have to be Popeye because he is what he is. I am what I am.
Protector.
And then avoid Bugs Bunny because that guy's going to get you in trouble. I mean, that left turn at Albuquerque was not a mistake. And most of your audience is like, what the hell is he talking about? But you said Bugs Bunny. I think that left turn at Albuquerque was absolutely not a mistake.
Do you know what I like about you, Ronnie? That question didn't even phase you. Just
Didn't miss a beat. No.
boom.
I also I was thinking about Popeye because obviously he's pretty stacked. He obviously looks after himself. He eats his greens. He's Popeye the sailor man, right? So he's got a career. He's probably got a business there as well. He's going to provide for you. He's going to look after you, and he's going to protect you if you need to protect him.
He's a good dad. He was always looking after Sweet Pea. He always looked after Olive Oil. And fun fact, he is based on a real person.
No way.
There's a Polish immigrant who went to America. Can't remember his name. Google it. Popeye real person. Who I can't remember where he stayed, but he was a real person, and he got into so many fights. He had busted up eyes, but he was very strong, and he used to smoke a pipe just like that, based on a real person.
To me, that's awesome.
Yeah, I know,
he's probably vapes nowadays. But also, what's nice is that obviously Popeye's been an entertainer for some time, and there hasn't been any negative press that's come out about him. And that often does happen. So that's always nice.
Now you said it. Now you said it.
A
couple of weeks time, people like Popeye involved in SA scandal. Like, oh come on, man.
There was a scandal around Popeye around World War II when they were using the cartoons. There's cartoons that most people don't see where it's really disrespectful to Japanese people because it was during wartime. They justified that, and it was one of those things where if you saw it today, it would be offensive.
So I'm actually well versed in this. So I did my degree in entertainment technology, and I had a unit on propaganda, media, and animation. First of all, every country's done it. Every country, every cartoon has done it. Bugs Bunny, there's one I remember very vividly. Again, World War II, and he is saying some horrendous things. It was all propaganda. All countries did it. Germany did it. We did it. America did it, and they used the famous cartoons to do so. Captain America, come on. Just think about what he stands for, like Captain America specifically.
Yes.
So yeah, it's all propaganda, and there's some ones that are horrific that have been banned to this day. So you're right, I'm on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and some of Walt Disney's work too. If you see the non-Disney work, it's not part of the Disney company. He did some pretty offensive stuff, some pretty racist stuff in his drawings. So yeah, you can dig that stuff up, and you're like, really, this was the guy.
Controversial statement. Racism, kind of funny.
Oh, it can be funny in the right context.
Wait, hear me out, right? Like, I have many character flaws. To disregard those character flaws and dislike me for the color of my skin, that's hilarious. Like, dislike me for things I don't do or do, right?
Exactly that, because you just said doo-doo on camera.
I just said doo-doo on camera.
That alone.
Mate, we talked about having nuts. Having a good nut on camera as well.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah,
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I thought you were going there. But no, disliking somebody, hating somebody, or really just being enraged by somebody because of, the color of their skin or their background is ridiculous.
Gender, sexuality, all these things are ridiculous.
I call it Linnaeus' folly. That's what I've always termed it.
Okay.
So the scientist Linnaeus, right, who did all the categorization of genus, species, etc. He did some great work with plants and animals, but he tried to take that to humans. Now, we all know, the three of us here especially, we would know that humans are the same genetically. We're all the same. We have different traits, but basic DNA, we're the same species, right? There are no real races. It's not like you're different than I am. It's
Mm.
just that you have slightly different characteristics, genes that are turned on that aren't with me, or something like that, more melanin, things like that. Linnaeus tried to say that by region, these humans had different traits by their whole region. And if you look at that and research that, it's really where he went off the deep end as far as these classifications, but he gave it the credence of science. And so people who were just basically racist could use Linnaeus and that so-called science to push their racist views.
Wow. That is, like you said, interesting.
It is.
We should probably ask you some business-related questions now.
Go for it.
Okay, so you are a solutions architect. You've kind of explained, as I called it, you're like the ultimate geek, as it were. That's not what I said earlier, but like a higher echelon of geek. What advice would you give to a younger person who maybe wants to aspire to your career goals? Like, what would you say if you want to become a solutions architect to a young 20-year-old?
What I'd say is that you shouldn't pursue that as a career. Say like, I want to train to be a solutions architect.
Okay.
Be the best at what you're doing. I mean, if you're a project manager at the time, be the best at that and learn all the different component parts, and then learn the different pieces that put together. If you're in software, which I am, learn the pieces that put it together. Maybe go back and do some old networking with some old router you find and figure out what the protocols actually mean and how it actually works, not in the cloud. And that gives you a great basis. See, I had the advantage of being born in a time before personal computers, barely. But then I saw my first personal computer when I was 11, started programming, and I've watched the technology grow. So I have a very unique space in the market where it's easier for me to see that whole dynamic than it would be a 20-year-old. So I would say definitely get your feet wet in everything you can. Now, there's no real reason to go back and learn the things that I know because they're not going to be relevant in the future. Learn the cloud version of everything. It would be great if you had enough interest to put a router on your desk and start learning how the networking protocols work, learn how to write a program in a basic language, whatever that is. And speaking of basic, that was my first language was basic. That's what I wrote in. But you can learn something very general and then try to touch the metal at some point, meaning that you're talking directly to the components on the board. And that will teach you why programs run the way they do and why they shouldn't run the way they do. I used to tell people when I was teaching them how to program, if you open something, close it. If you're using something, give it back, meaning that treat memory like it's a resource. Now we just program and we let garbage collection come through and just make everything go away. However, you run into times when if you had given that memory back, your program would be much more performant, but nobody cares. I spent years writing programs that were supposed to interact on the web instantaneously. I worked hard at that. Now it's perfectly acceptable for us to write a program and see that little spinning thing going on or whatever you use to indicate, okay, we're working on this for seconds. I mean, multiple seconds, you see this thing loading and everybody's cool with that again. And it was infuriating for me when I first saw that. It's like, why did we go back here? We worked so hard to make the web work just as efficiently as the desktop. And now we're going back to loading. So we're just loading.
I used to do e-learning development, and I remember developing a couple of modules for a course, and the program director was like, okay, that's really cool, it's really fast, really slick. I want you to add this animation that's like a loading thing. I was like, why? It's like user experience, so that it feels like it's doing something. So what happens at the end of the course, you'd have like a knowledge check, and the knowledge check. Now I had it so it was instant. Did knowledge check, boom, you got 10 out of 10, you got 15 out of 100. He's like, no, Dale, we need to make it look like it's calculating because that's how people expect it. So I had to put in a stupid animation that lasted about 8 seconds of like some kind of turny wheel Mozilla Firefox type dealy thing. And I was like, but why? And you're right, it's coming because people expect it. They think the computer's processing stuff. It's like, it's not processing, it's just taking up time.
And that's, go ahead, Tony.
This is like the joke of, so there's a man and he's making love to his wife and then he pauses for a substantial amount of time, and his wife says, "What are you doing?" And he says, "I'm buffering. I've seen it on the
internet." Yes. I thought that was part of the whole thing, right? Yeah, we what you just said, Dale, is the epitome of the problem. We're building in pauses so that people think we're doing something, when in actuality we're doing this magnificent thing super fast, and the data is right there. Oh, but your instructor needs an arch nemesis. That person needs somebody to push them to be a little better, because building in a pause is a ridiculous way to build software or anything else. I mean, building software should be that I type something in, I get my answer immediately. And if you can do that, that's awesome. Now, if it takes more than 3 seconds, you might want to say loading or show something. But yeah, it's one of those things that I've watched it deteriorate to the point that it almost makes me angry.
When you spoke about memory and resource going back a step, do you know what immediately came to my mind?
What's that?
Tony, you might remember this, and there's people who are younger than us who might remember this. Windows Vista. Do you remember that? That's possibly the worst OS Microsoft ever released because it was so hungry for RAM. It was worse than XP. And I just remember it was so inefficient. It leaked memory and it was atrocious.
And do you want to know why?
I don't know why. Please tell me.
Yeah, the reason that happened is that Microsoft culture at the time, and this is talking to people that work there, who shall remain anonymous for all time, but they were pushed for these dates and delivery dates, and you got to have this by this date. And they program managers were telling upper management, we can't do that. And they said, that's not a good enough answer. Go back and figure out how. So they just started saying, okay, sure, we'll do that. We'll do that. Because if you remember, there was supposed to be a whole new file system that never got delivered with Windows Vista. Mm-hmm. That was the reason. They had such a toxic, this has to happen culture, that they delivered the worst operating system Windows has ever built, as if it was this brand new, beautiful thing. Hated it. I loved XP.
I skipped it. I think I genuinely skipped it and I went to Vista to 7.
Yeah. Since I was in technology, I tried it and I was like, oh no.
Same.
Oh no. Oh no.
Let's go back to XP. And the people that did go to that would use start menu buttons to get everything back the way XP was. They would use add-ons to make it more like XP. So what you did is you take a product that was the best in the market, doing well, completely trash it, take everything away that people are familiar with, throw it out there and say, here's your beautiful new thing. Management was happy. Programmers were angry as hell. And the clients, the customers hated it. So there you go. Marketing 102.
Can you imagine being part of an organization that's so big that has such an insane market share, though? I've never worked for an organization that large before, because to be honest, Microsoft is so ubiquitous, and I know there's now more challenges on the market, but I remember growing up with, again, personal computers and then kind of become more prevalent. Internet Explorer, it was just there.
Yeah.
It was just there.
Always.
Crazy.
Yeah. And that's the thing, when you work for a company like that, think about it. They survived Windows Vista. Imagine a normal sized company. Normal company with great market share or whatever would never have survived such a debacle as Windows Vista.
I mean, speaking of companies that are tech, because I don't free agent. If they made a mistake of Vista level magnitude, I don't think it would work well for them, would it? I don't think free agent could recover. I don't think Zero could recover.
It's like the equivalent of removing all the interface and just installing a DOS-based command system instead of being able to raise an invoice or whatever. Actually, it's interesting though. I remember I'm not a Snapchat user and have never really been of any of any substance. It was a social media too far for me. But I remember when they changed the interface slightly, and Kylie Jenner, I think it was, tweeted and basically something along the lines of just like snap changes, something like that. It was like literally just that, and it wiped $1 billion off their share price overnight because
Yes.
so I don't like it. No one else did. Oh yeah, I don't like it either. And and it was that was just some small UI tweak that they'd made that meant that she couldn't use it quite how she was using it before. They survived but yeah.
But it could have taken them down. Something like that can take a smaller company down. I can't believe Microsoft survived with market share. Such a thing as Windows Vista. Remember Windows ME that came before that?
Yeah, well, that was complete. That was better than Vista.
It was. Yeah, it was like XP Lite. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't terrible. But then you come out with Windows Vista and everybody hates it.
Millennium Edition, that was it. Yeah. It was 98, 95, 98, ME.
Yeah, Millennium Edition.
Yeah.
And it wasn't horrible, but...
I have a question for you, Ronnie, or maybe it's a two-part question, actually. So who do you help typically, and what do you help them with? So like your day-to-day activities and engagements professionally, like who are your customers and what challenges do you help them with? Yeah,
one of the most beneficial relationships you can have is with a customer who is embedded in a legacy system trying to modernize. And I say that for one reason, is that when a company is, let's say, mid-size, 500 employees, something like that, 500 or 600 employees, and they have built organically this system that works for them over 30 years. One person knows how it works. And those are the people you can help the most or I can help the most. And I'm speaking completely from my perspective, because going as a solutions architect, one of the first things you're asked is, what the hell is a solutions architect? That's one of the questions you get. So you tell them, here's what I'm here to do. I'm here to solve problems, the big problems, and to help you move to the new platform you're trying to move to, and whatever that happens to be. And then you can go in there and see where all the skeletons are really hiding, where the weaknesses are, the single points of failure. That's where you can do the most good, is when you go in and you say, oh, well, this data is getting called 3 times for one call, and it's causing everything to be slow. Or you can look at their infrastructure and say, if this server goes down, everything goes down. Here's a single point of failure. Being able to go in and recognize that quickly. And we're not talking about months of research like some vendor would charge them, for months to try to figure this out. You're talking about going in and spending a week, getting into some systems, talking to the people there, and figuring out, one, this is a red alert. This is where the fires are. This is what can take down your business. And we take care of that first. And then we start pushing to whatever goals they have. Because inevitably, you walk into a company and they're like, we want to go 100% to the cloud, or we want AI to do this, because it's a buzzword. It's something they think they can just do. They think it's a thing. I think the cloud is just this thing you can just push everything to, and it'll be awesome. Because marketers will tell them that. They say, yeah, you can do all of that in the cloud. They just don't tell you that to do all of this in the cloud is going to cost you 3 times as much, and it's going to take 3 years. They don't tell them that. They just try to get them onto the cloud. Same thing with AI. AI is one of the most misunderstood, overused buzzwords in business right now. And people are like, well, can we use AI to do that? And they're not even asking the right question. So yeah, where you can really help people, if you're someone like me, is to go in, find the weaknesses, keep them from failing first, and then help them move forward in a way that's sustainable and actually achievable.
Swerving slightly onto the AI point, like where do you see it? Where do you see it being used well, and like where do you think that it's overhyped and that actually we should back off it a bit?
I think it's really great if you have a large knowledge base, if you're a company and you have all of this data and you can structure it correctly and feed it to a large language model that makes sense, then it's awesome because one of your clients can say, how do I get this damn button to go away? Or how do I get this to work? And it can intelligently go in and find an answer that's suitable and save you time and resources. However, when you try to apply it to every process, I'll leave all the names out, but there's an insurance company that actually pushed an AI system. They paid a lot of money for an AI system to do some reporting and some client side things. And now it takes the people doing that work 3 times as long because they have to go and check everything the AI does because it's often wrong. And there's this, I'm going to make up a name so I don't give away this, but there's always this ghost that appears, Deborah, who is a beneficiary on a policy that doesn't exist. Deborah doesn't exist, but every once in a while, Deborah will show up as a beneficiary for this policy.
Just paid out.
Exactly. So
made up bank account sat there with millions in it. Yeah, Deborah's real. She just pretends not to be real. Yeah, clever.
Yeah, exactly. That would be kind of awesome. I'd like that. But yeah, that's where it's being used wrongly. Is when you want to use AI to say you're using AI, you're wrong already. As an executive, whether you're CEO, CTO, COO even, if you're saying, well, we're going to push this AI solution, you should back up and say, what are we actually doing? Because that's where it's really costing companies amazing amounts of money and trouble.
I was trying to format some data that I'm working on at the moment, and I needed to basically be able to order it by column, and every time I was trying to sort it, it kept sorting by like the day rather than like chronologically, so it put them into groups of 31 and then 30 and then 29. So I was like, right, Gemini will help me solve this. So I went in and said, could you help me solve this? And it went through, I honestly couldn't tell you, maybe we had 25 attempts to try and solve this with like these pretty lengthy array formulas. I learned some stuff, but part of the problem was half of them were formatted in one fashion, and then there was a cut-off date, and then the rest of them were formatted as, so essentially it was some were text and some were numbers. And we eventually got to like sort of text to column, separate them out, and then try to restitch them back together again eventually, after I'd reminded it, I think at least 5 times we weren't using Excel and that we were using Google Sheets. And then it went, oh, actually, could you just check what locale you're set to? And it was set to the US, and it was putting the date formula out in the wrong order because it was set to US, not to the UK.
Yes.
And eventually
let's start that argument, shall we, Tony? After that, shall we?
Yeah, exactly right. And eventually we got there, but I was like, do you know what? Like, this has actually been more of a hindrance than it was a help. Now, I'm going to put my hands up and say my prompt game is nil. Like, I know that, and I know that if I'd asked it the right thing, it probably would have just done it straight away. But I think I'm reflective of the populace more so than somebody who had a strong prompt game and would have been able to ask it the right thing in the right fashion, in the right way, and and it would have spat it out. My Excel skills are not nil, but they're not, they're not elite, they're not premium by any stretch of the imagination. But it just like sat back and reflected on it afterwards, and I was like, yeah, it was a bit of a fiddly thing, but like, man, this could have been so much faster than it was with the help that I had. So.
Yeah. So, and do you find that a lot, Tony? I mean, people are trying to use AI.
I'm stupid. Yeah. Most days.
Yeah, I find that a lot in my life, Tony. Let's put it that way. I'm not going to criticize you, but yeah, I find out it's my own fault. It's my own damn fault. But no, you can't use a chatbot or you can't use AI for everything.
Nope.
I find it fills in the gaps if you have a weakness. Like I don't create art like I used to digitally, and if you need something for a post, and you can use AI to create art that is really kind of cool, that will work for you for that post and give you what you need, and you can do it very, very, very quickly. without engaging for hours with somebody trying to get the art right, you can get something that's acceptable to you and your personal brand very quickly. But when let's say you're writing code, like you were doing, you're trying to figure out data. If someone knew, oh, this is text, these are dates, and some Google Sheets guru would have said, okay, here's how we fix this. And in 3 minutes, you have a solution that will kind of work for you, and then you can work it out and in less time fix it. But I think we're leaning on it so heavily right now that we're going to see a lot more of what you just said. People spending more time trying to solve the problem with AI than they would have if they just went to Stack Overflow and said, I'm having this problem, how do I fix it?
Or to be able to say to it, could you format that column in so it's all dates, please?
Yes.
That's what I started with, and it was like, no, I can't do that. No, I've done it. No, you haven't. Still not working. Oh, right. Oh, okay. I see. This must be a frustrating problem. Yeah, it is a frustrating problem. Okay.
Yeah, I hate those little comments too.
I know.
It must be a frustrating problem. Yes, actually, it is.
So going back a step, Ronnie, first of all, did anyone call you Ronald? Does that ever happen? Or was that not allowed?
It's not my name. My name is actually Ronnie.
Okay.
And that's part of I told you I was born in Appalachia. So I don't have a middle name. My name is Ronnie. I have a twin brother whose name is Donnie. So
I can't tell if you're messing with me though or not. Like Ronnie and Donnie.
I am not messing with you. It's Ronnie and Donnie. And
Donnie made up AI avatar. Donnie and Deborah are the two beneficiaries of this.
Yeah, I thought about getting Donnie to wake up early, giving him the link, although you wouldn't give me permission to do that. I was going to slide him the link and have him come in because he looks enough different. He's got some facial hair, but he looks enough alike that we could do that whole Star Trek evil universe thing. Did you ever see the original one?
The Mirrorverse. Yeah.
Yes. So you saw that. Well, he's got the little Fu Manchu thing going on. And I was thinking, yes, he could be the evil twin.
Wait, I am Evil Dale. I locked the nice Dale away a long time ago.
I thought so. There could only be one. There can be only one. Yes.
The only one. Jet Li. I didn't know you were a Trekkie. That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I love Star Trek.
Me too.
Yeah. Star Wars is like a religious saga. Star Trek, bring on the science. Even if it's pseudoscience or not science, I like it.
So, Ronnie, question for you, going back a step. As the ambassador for your peoples, as the arbiter of truth for all Americans, why do you all say your date's the wrong way around?
It's just to confuse the rest of the damn world.
Because everyone else is like pyramid structure, small, medium, large, and America's like, no. I
think it was just one of those, and I'm going to throw a word at you, a cantankerous American habit to try to do things differently than everybody else in the world and say, this is the way you got to do it if you're going to do business with us.
Metric system, pretty good system.
I would say based on 10, you can do it in your head and all that. Come on, man. What are you doing to the kids?
I will give America credit for the imperial system, ironically, imperial system, because actually it makes you better at maths. Like you have to be good at maths to like calculate things in the imperial system. You
do. But the metric system makes so much more sense. It really does.
Right. You heard it here, folks. Ambassador, arbiter of truth from America, Ronnie Swafford.
Yeah, you can't hide the truth.
Metric
you can't hide from it.
Yes, you
metric system. Yeah, you can't hide from it. The metric system is a better way to do things.
And this is when you get deported for saying such things.
It's very possible, and I hope you have a couch, one of you, that I can stay on.
I mean, you can stay at my place. It'll be cool. You play guitar, right?
And Dale just disappeared. Did you see that? Yeah, you froze when you were drinking that and just went away.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
How long have you been playing guitar?
So long that I should be really good at it, and I'm not. I've been playing guitar since I was in my 20s.
Okay.
And yeah.
Who are your guitar heroes? Who is the one that influenced you the most? Like you heard a song or you saw them play and went, I want to do that.
It was probably the beginning. It was probably Roy Clark. I don't know if you know Roy Clark.
I don't. Sorry.
You should look up that guy. Because the way I grew up, I didn't grow up with a lot of inspiring guitarists, but Roy Clark was more a folk legend. He could play anything with strings. So then I got into Richie Blackmore. Richie Blackmore is...
And Richie Blackmore, yeah.
Yeah, he may not be the best person in the world. I don't know him, but his guitar playing is sublime. And what he's done with Blackmore's Night, are you familiar with them?
No, I'm not.
So he married Candace Knight, and they have a kind of a Renaissance Ren Fair type group called Blackmore's Night. So here, during all of these, Celtic inspired songs and things, he'll bust out a solo that's just incredible. Now, as a guitarist, you'll recognize that immediately. You're not caught up in the whole Renaissance part of it. You're like, man, that guy can play. So he's still doing it.
That's cool. That's cool. Tony, do you have any musical inspirations? I've never asked you that before.
No, I'm not really a big music guy, to be honest, mate. Interestingly enough, like guitar-wise, though, so I didn't play any instruments. Had a recorder lesson when I was in class 3, I think, and saw my friends playing outside and decided I didn't want to do it anymore, and that was it. That was the sum total of my musical talents. But I remember being at secondary school, and we had this guy, and he was like, in the grand scheme of things, like, a decent guitar player, but not, he didn't go on to do it professionally. He played in a band, I think, but nothing major. And he was playing like in front of our school for some reason or other. And we played this song that they'd written, and then he just went off on one about it and just started playing. And I spoke to him afterwards, and I was like, oh man, it was so cool. Like, it'd be so cool to be able to do this. And he was like, oh yeah, like it was, I just kind of went with it, like, and I was like, what do you mean you just kind of went with it? And he was just like, oh yeah, I was just like playing. That wasn't something that was like written down. I just played that. And it absolutely blew my mind. And I loved the idea of like mastery of something, being able to like just kind of riff without anything there, and you're just so good at what you did that you could just operate on the fly and be like at your best or amazing, just without having kind of rehearsed it or learnt it or anything like that. And it's always stuck with me. The guy's name was Todd Jeffrey. He won't be listening, but it like just amazing. It just absolutely blew my mind that like you could apply that to anything, let alone guitar, because it was such an alien thing to me. But no, not much of a musician or really that into music, to be honest. Which is sad because I do like music. It's just never really featured in my life, like heavily, right?
Fair play. I think it's time for a silly question. Ronnie, if you could punch one character in the face and get away with it, which character would you punch in the face?
What do you mean by character?
I mean a fictional character, not a real person. So
Good deal. Yeah.
We mentioned Star Trek, we mentioned Star Wars, we mentioned cartoons. Like one of those characters you could punch in the face. No judgment from anyone else. You're just gonna.
It would be the original Captain Star Trek Enterprise, James T. Kirk. That guy needed a fist in the face. Just too dramatic. Dale, he was so dramatic.
I've watched the original show. I know exactly how he is. So but him as a character, you would punch in the face. Yeah,
the character, James T. Kirk.
Do you reckon you could take him?
Right now, yeah.
No, prime for prime.
James
T. Kirk, you and your prime. Do you reckon you could take him?
Oh yeah, I think James T. Kirk was probably glass jaw, whiny ass bitch kind of guy. That's what I'm thinking. He was the big tough captain because of his rank, but I think if you really hit him in the face, go down.
That was a fantastic answer. Thank you for humoring me.
It was, and again, didn't miss a beat. There was not a flinch or a flicker of like, why have you asked me this question? Which I think leads us nicely on to quick fire round. Should we go?
Quick. Yep, I'm going to pause myself.
Dale has to mute because it helps him to not interject. We have this quick fire round, Ronnie. Nothing too strenuous, but I will give you 10 questions from the list, and just give me your answers. Number 1.
You got it.
One skill do you wish you had but you don't?
Kung Fu.
Kung Fu, nice. Favorite country you've ever visited?
Canada.
Good country. Famous country you've never visited? Like, where do you want to go?
The UK.
Interesting. You're always welcome. With hindsight, what alternative career might you have pursued if you did not do the one you're doing currently?
I think late night DJ.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. What's your favorite food?
It's going to be pizza.
I think it's a good, solid choice. That is. Spirit animal. What is your spirit animal?
It would be a woodpecker.
A woodpecker. Interesting. We will come back to that one. Mine is definitely a wombat. The book you have recommended the most often?
Well, probably The One Thing. And I don't remember the author now, but the One Thing is something I recommended right after I read it. So that's the most often recommended.
Cool. Okay. Your most hated grammatical error or mispronounced word?
Misusing to. TWO, TOO, TO.
Right up
that
there.
One gets me.
Right up there with a lot and them, they, there, they, there, they, there.
They, there,
They.
You're here and here.
You're and your. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. If you could not fail, what one thing would you do?
Skydive.
Done that. Very cool. What is your best ever 1 in a million trick shot? Think hole in one in golf, that type of thing.
I was going to say it was a golf shot when I used to play golf, and it was 285-yard par 4, and I was 3 feet from the hole. Best shot yet.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds amazing. I wish that had happened to me, but it has not. I have a friend who has a hole in one. He might be listening. Hi, Craig, if you are. I know he listens. He has a hole in one, and he also has hit the flag 3 times as well. And he is, by his own admission, I think, not much of a golfer. So, and I mean that in the nicest possible way. He's very good at it. He'd use the same club for every shot if you let him. Like, he just likes getting out on the course and getting in the 19th hole afterwards. But yeah, has a hole in one and 3
Unbelievable
flags. Yeah, no. I also worked with a guy who's had 2 holes in one on the same course. Course that was built by my father, weirdly. But on to the final question, which is a new one. Who should we have on the show? If we could have one guest on this show in the future, who would you recommend?
I think Leah Turner would be a great guest for this show.
Is she the former LinkedIn lady who now does the Holt? The Holt.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, get Leah Turner on here. That'd be fun.
Okay. Well, if you can intro us, be more than welcome. Should be great. Don't know her personally, but yeah, familiar with her stuff. Cool. Dale, you may unmute. That's it. Thank you.
That was hard to interrupt.
Yeah. I'll go to the woodpecker one. We got to go back to the woodpecker one. Why woodpecker?
No, I say that because, when I was a kid and a young adult, I always thought, I most relate to the wolf. The wolf was, that lone wolf mentality and all that. Nah, more like the guy just flying around out of reach that is looking for food. That's me. Yeah.
Tapping on people.
You can always tell when I'm in the room because you know how woodpeckers will call you around, your eyes around from the knocking on the tree. So you can hear them forever. That's me when I walk into a place. I don't like to admit that, but yeah, I talk to everybody. I love it. I'm a social person and I make a lot of noise when we're, hanging out together. I'm the guy. So I chose that as a more adult version of me. Yeah, it's not going to hurt anything. It's not like a tiger or a wolf or a lion. I wish I was one of those guys, but no.
Cool. Ronnie, it's been a delight having you on the show.
It has.
Going to wrap things up. Two kind of final questions, statements. The first one will be, do you have any questions for Tony and I? And the second one will be, do you have a nugget or pearl of wisdom you want to go out on? So if you have any questions for us, that'd be great. If not, please share a pearl of wisdom and I'll hit end stream.
Yeah, the one question I have for you guys, where did you guys meet? You guys have a great dynamic. I love this. It's like, how did you meet each other?
On the internet. Yeah, we both cast our rods into the same accountancy-based LinkedIn pool and tangled up with each other. And then 3 years later, bam, we were presenting the same podcast.
I know how we hit it off. Like we started talking. I think instantly we started talking about barbecue.
And
I was like,
Yeah, we're both low and slow
That
guys.
is perfect. That's the perfect origin story for you guys. And you guys,
Our origin story. I found the story. Yeah.
You guys are just awesome in this podcast, and I'm sure you're awesome friends. And so, a pearl of wisdom is, let's take it from the kids show Blues Clues from years ago when my granddaughters were little. Stop, breathe, and think. That's what Steve said. Something happens, you start to get mad. Stop, breathe, and think. Things will be better.
I wholeheartedly